I haven't done this one in a while, so I'm really excited because we're going to be using colour on the eyes. I know. So we're going to be doing a really nice soft glam look. It's really easy to do as well. I've got nothing on my face. We're going to get straight into it. I'm using my BOBBI BROWN Vitamin Enriched Eye Base, and this is great if you're looking for something to give you that hydration and work really well under makeup. So we're going to get this on the fingers here, like so. We're gonna just put this around the eye area, not too close to the lash line, just around the eye bone, and let that soak up. Okay, now we're going for the face base. We're gonna get some of this on the finger, a little bit. You only need a small amount of this. Press this into the skin. I don't feel like you need primer with this face base, so it's actually a primer and moisturizer in one. Before we move on to anything else, we're gonna just slick the brows. I'm using the Anastasia Brow Freeze Gel. The only thing that annoys me about this is like it's stringy when it comes out. Now, what I want you to do is go through the brows, but kind of just go like that, so it really coats hold of like every strand. Like so. So make sure it's all over those brows. Do the other side before you actually flatten it, because you want it to just not dry, but just don't flatten it immediately. Now we're gonna press, just push them up to the side a little bit. There you go. Nicely flat, and then we're going to let that dry. So now what we're going to do is go in with our foundation. I'm using my MAC Studio Radiance and NC38 BK Beauty 106 brush. Now you want to really get this into the brush and really buff it in. And then once you've done that, we can start buffing this onto the skin. And what we want is this really nice veil of colour. And this is going to give you coverage as well at the same time. So this is going to like help you to not have to use so much concealer, because I do feel like when you want like this really nice soft glam, you want there to be that very slight luminosity in the skin. Every time, by the way, keep buffing into the hand before you actually buff into the skin. So yeah, with a soft glam look, like I would say the traditional old school soft glam was actually quite a lot of makeup and like quite heavy eye makeup, and I don't want it to be like that. I want this to be wearable, you know, I want this to be soft, you know, so every part of this whole look should look soft, not harsh and like. Now that we've got that really nice veil of colour, you can see that we've got this beautiful luminosity to the skin, which isn't over the top either, and the coverage is just right. Definitely one of my favourite foundations. Honestly, I never thought I would like MAC in the way that I loved it back in the day again, but hands down, this is like an amazing foundation. So now that we've done that, we're going to move on to concealer. I'm going to use my Too Faced Born This Way multi-use concealer in Natural Beige. Now everything I'm going to buff into the skin, I'm going to actually buff it into the hand first. So we're going to go onto the back of the hand with this concealer. I'm going to get my damp sponge. I'm going to buff into the concealer first. We're going to get the eyelids out of the way first, by the way. We're just going to press this over. Don't go over the brow area because that's nicely set. So just keep it below the brow. Like so. Okay, you're gonna get your powder puff. The Laura Mercier one is the one that I love. I like to just kind of like bend it so that I can manipulate the shape. I'm gonna press into the powder, just press into the palm so there's not like a whole load of powder going on your skin. And then press over the lid, just like that. Now you wanna use a good kind of medium fluff brush. The Real Techniques one is a great brush for this. I've used this for years, it's amazing. Okay, we're gonna do the whole base before we do the eyes because I don't think we're gonna have much fallout because these eyeshadow palettes that I'm gonna be, well, the eyeshadow brand palette that I'm using is so good. There's about 6 different, they're small eyeshadow palettes, right? So you get like 9 colors in there. It's just the perfect combination of some shimmer, matte shade, sheen, and it's like each one is a different color. And I know like we've had this out from other brands too. Like Huda has loads of those different colored eyeshadow palettes, but honestly, these are the best ones I've ever seen. Every single one of them is amazing. You're gonna love them. And I've used a few of the other palettes and they're so good, no fallout. Blending is amazing, melts into the skin, definitely the best around. Okay, so what we're gonna do now is get a little bit more concealer, put it at the back of our hand. We're doing exactly the same thing. So we're gonna get the sponge and we're gonna take a little bit of that concealer, not all of it because we obviously want it for the other side as well. We're gonna buff it into the sponge. We're then going to buff into the under eye area. Now by buffing like the concealer and the foundation into the kind of like hand first and then onto the skin, what that does is it ensures that you are going to get a softer finish, because if you just draw everything on your face, I can honestly guarantee it's definitely not going to be as soft. Yes, you can still get a stunning finish from it. I personally do it that way quite a lot. But if you really want a soft glam finish, I would highly recommend being soft with your application. And what that means is not drawing harsh lines all over the face. Like we're still gonna contour, but you're gonna see it's gonna be done in a very soft way. There you go. So we've got enough kind of coverage. You can go along the other areas wherever you want a bit of extra coverage. There you go. Okay, we are going to get the Charlotte Tilbury Contour Wand in medium, and I am going to get a little bit none of my words came out there. Okay, I've got this at the back of my hand. I've just put some right there. We're going to get a sponge. I have a sponge that I use for like bronzers and blush. We're going to buff this into the sponge, same way. And then we're going to buff this along here to get a really nice sculpt that is super soft. You're just gonna love this. Just this way of putting like makeup on and really getting that nice kind of like soft application is game changing. See that? You're still like going in the areas that you kind of like usually apply it to. That doesn't change. It's your way of applying it. And I do feel like you actually have a little bit more control, because when you're like drawing the lines on your face, and I'm just basically applying it here, by the way, because I like to apply it just on the sides of the forehead. I feel like it warms up my face, but it also does help to slim my face. You can go underneath the jawline if you really want to. Everything is soft. We're also going to just squeeze it and just go on the sides of the bridge of the nose. And that's just going to help to sculpt the nose. By doing it this way, you get more control, because if you were to draw the stripes on the face and then you went to blend it, like, it's fine to do that. You can still do that, it's great. But it does take a lot more work, and it does mean that you need to be a lot more patient and be a bit more precise and just kind of know what you're doing. Like, you've really got to have the experience there. This is a great way for anyone who doesn't want to spend that time blending, doesn't want to kind of like worry about actually ruining their makeup. And also, you know, maybe they don't have as much experience. So this is a really good way to do it. But even if you do have experience, this is an amazing way to do it. Like, honestly, this works for everyone. Okay, now I do want a little bit of pink blush, and I want something that's a little bit illuminating. So we're going to use this. What is this? This is actually the Charlotte Tilbury Glowgasm Beauty Light Wand in Pink Gasm. I'm going to put this on the back of my hand. Same thing. We're going to use the sponge. I'm going to dip into this, make sure I buff it into this sponge. And then we're going to add this right here at the top. So it's kind of like above where we applied the contour, a really nice, stunning color that we've got there. And oh my God, when you're applying stuff like blush as well with the sponge, amazing, amazing finish that you get. It's just, you end up trying so hard when you're drawing all the stripes, you know, like when you're applying it from the actual product to your skin, you end up spending way more time trying to get this result. So it's honestly a game changer. Okay, we want to like set everything now. So I'm going to just add my Huda Beauty Easy Bake into the lid like I do usually, and get my powder puff. I don't want to use this everywhere. I'm just going to be doing this on the under eyes. Go into the powder, just pat it into the palm of the hand, and then we're going to get rid of any creasing that's there. So let's just get rid of that first. There you go. And then we're going to just set the under eyes. I like to take it on the side of the nose. And then anywhere else you want it to stay matte all day, or you want it to, you know, usually comes off really quickly, do it on those areas. I just usually do it mostly on the center of the face. Okay, then what we're gonna do is get our Real Techniques brush. We're actually gonna dust this off like that. We're going to get the bigger brush, which is the Hourglass brush, the large side. We're going to dip into the powder, and then we're just going to very lightly dust. But I'm not actually touching, you know where I put the blush? Because I actually want that to like stay pretty luminous there. I like that. You know when you turn your face and, you know, it's just like whoosh. It just kind of like glows. I love it. Okay, let's just get all this product that's on the back of my hand off. Don't forget that. That's actually a good step you don't want to miss. Take it all off because it can very easily go all over your clothes. So let's take that off. I do want to really quickly add some balm. My lips are drying out. This is my DIOR Lip Maximizer and I love it. It's just so good to prep my lips. I would say I use this mostly for the hydration because I feel like once I've applied it in the morning, no matter what lipstick I put on, or even if I don't and I just use lip liner, it honestly keeps my lips hydrated all day. That's the reason I use that. Okay, I have got my Benefit Mighty Fine Brow Pen and I am just gonna add some of these little strokes into the brow. I don't really want my brows super thick for this, so I'm not adding a lot. Okay, I've got my KOSAS Brow Pop. Is this just the Brow Pop? Yeah, KOSAS Brow Pop. This is in dark brown, and I am just gonna do feather strokes, little kind of light feather strokes on the areas which my hair is pretty sparse, from the bottom up. Always from the bottom up because that's where I'm actually pretty sparse. I'm kind of happy with that. I think that's fine there. Let's go here. Okay, so now that the brows are done, I feel like we can get on with the eyes. I want to do the eyes before I do things like finishing off the face. Maybe I decide that after I've done the eyes that I want a little bit more glow on the face, or maybe I feel like I need to sculpt more. So it really is a case of kind of like doing the feature point first. So do that first, and once you've got your basic stuff done, you know, the stuff that you're going to put on regardless, which is your base. We've done a little bit of sculpt and a little bit of blush just to add a bit of kind of like, you know, shape to the face so that it isn't so flat. Once you've done all of those obvious things, then you do the feature point. This is the area that's going to have more definition, right? And that for us is going to be the eyes on this soft glam look. And we want it to still look soft, but I also don't want to end up bronzing more now, adding more glow right now. And then I'm like, once I've done the eyes, I'm like, oh my God, that was just like way too much. Like I shouldn't have done all of that. So that's why you want to keep all of this pretty neutral before you finish off with like finishing touches. Are you ready for the eyeshadow palette we're going to use? We're using the Charlotte Tilbury Beautifying Eye Trends in Pink Love. This is such a stunning palette. I haven't used these colors yet, so I'm super excited. And I want to do like a really I want this to be like date night, perfect, like soft glam makeup for date night, or it's just soft, you know? Hear me out here, but we're gonna do this we're going to do a little bit with our fingers. Now I've got this brush ready, which is my 207 brush from BK Beauty. Now I'm going to use number 6, which is a matte silk shade. And it's kind of like this deep burgundy kind of color. We're going to get that on the tip of the finger. Now, if you have long nails, this is really not going to work, so use a brush. But I want to get this right into the root of the lash. All I'm focusing on is pressing into the root of the lash. And you're naturally going to get it above there, right? But focus on touching the root, go all the way across. A little tip here is when you're working on this side here, you're obviously looking a little bit there. When you get to the middle, move your eye, like as in look to the side so that it doesn't feel awkward. When you get to the inner part of the lash line, look that way so that it doesn't feel awkward for you. Okay, I feel like that's good. We've really rubbed it into the lash. The root, I don't want any gaps there, so really make sure you get it into the root. Don't worry about what the line looks like above. If you use the tip of your finger, you'll notice that it should be kind of equal all the way across. Right, let's do that on the other side as well. So let's really get it into the root. I mean, I'm not really looking in the mirror here because it's really about touch, but obviously if you need to, then look in the mirror. But try and do it just through touch, because honestly, if you focus on looking in the mirror, you're basically looking there and you're trying to do it at the same time and it's going to feel awkward. So get the mirror for the end part rather than the beginning part of it. There you go. Now we're going to get that brush which has nothing on it, and this is where we're basically gonna kind of press and flick to the side or down into the lash. Whatever gives you the finish that you want. I think I quite like doing it down into the lash, and then part of it I might do to the side a little bit. But really what we're doing is just softening the harsh line. Now when we get here, we're just going to take it up a little bit, but not a lot. Just kind of out, but not down. It really depends on the shape of your eye here, because if your eye naturally goes down and it's downturned, then you want to go slightly higher. If it's already quite high, like as in the end of the lash line is quite slanted like that, then you can actually go a bit more straighter. But that's really down to, again, your eye shape. Use your finger if you need to. Can you see that's nicely like, it's soft, it's not looking like a line now. So we're going to do the same thing here. And just drag this a little bit out. Use your finger to make sure it doesn't look harsh. There you go, make sure it looks the same on both sides. It does. Perfect, that's what I wanted. I didn't want it to look like a line. Bear in mind, the shape and size of your eyelid, like how much space you have there, will determine how it looks on you too. So you might want to go a lot thinner with your application if you have not a lot of space on your eyelid. If you have a decent amount of space, then I feel like you can kind of like, you know, go as far as what I have, and then it should kind of like almost, I wouldn't say you want it to cover your eyelid, but once you've blended the edges, it should look like it's transitioning and fading out. So that's what I want you to get here. Now what I also want to do here is get that same color and go into the lower lash line, but this time rather than go under the lash, we're kind of going above a little bit so that we're not getting a like too much of a big line there. And just do it there. Don't worry if it goes down a little bit, that's fine. Just same thing here. And then also do it on the inner lower lash line. That's it. I've not gone back into the product. I've just used whatever was on my hand. Now make sure you use this brush again. Make sure there's not a lot of product on there. And then we're going to do the same thing here, but we're going side to side. We're just flicking. I want this to be a really nice, soft look. Okay, I like that. I just feel like it's nice and soft, it's not too dark. See, it isn't about using a dark color and using it to its full potential. It's about using a very small amount of it. So when you see all these really dark shades in eyeshadow palettes, don't get scared and think, oh, that's way too dark, because it really depends on how much you apply, how large the surface area is that you're applying it to, like how much. Just honestly, this is not a lot. It looks like a faded version of the color that's in the eyeshadow palette. Now, what we want to do next is add some shimmer, and we want this to be nice and soft. So I'm going to be using number 9, which is Crystal Pop, and I'm using my finger, obviously. I'm using the tip of my finger. There you go. Now we're going to add this just on the center of the lid here. Don't worry about the blending right now. Don't worry about that at all. Just a little, we're kind of like doing a fingerprint there. That's the size you want it to be. How much is on your tip of your finger? That's the size you want on the lid. Like it's like a kind of dot that you're doing there. That's it. Now wipe your finger off. You're gonna get a brush again. I'm just gonna get the same one. I'm just taking off whatever excess is on here. Now what we're gonna do is just spread this shadow out. It's not really a case of trying to spread it all the way across. It's however much it does. Because what we want this to look like is not as harsh as what it looks like now, where it's like a whole load of shimmer there. We want to spread it out so it's like this sprinkling of shimmer. I'm not going to go with 4. That's too pink for me. So I'm going to go for 8 because that's a bit softer. Got it on the tip of my finger. I'm going to touch just that bit there. You know, just like the inner part of the lower lash line. Touch it there, leave it there, get that brush, take off all the excess, and then just go over it so that you're spreading it. But don't do it all the way across the lower lash line. You're just kind of like lightening it so it's not so harsh. Now what I want to do is curl my lashes. Honestly, you're gonna love this. It's just such a pretty look, which isn't in your face. Right, we're gonna get the best mascara in the world, which is the Hourglass Unlocked, and we are just gonna add our mascara. Because this isn't overly like, it's not clumpy at all, to be honest, so I'm gonna get a really nice finish here. It's just the perfect kind of lash to complement this eye look. If you really want the lashes to look thick at the root, then wriggle the brush around the root before you drag through. I'm not so fussed about that, so I'm just kind of brushing it through. And then get it onto the lower lashes, but not too much. You want it to be quite soft. I don't want it to look spiky or spidery, you know? Okay, so right now, I'm gonna do my lips before I do finishing touches. I'm just gonna like blot that because I don't want it to be super shiny. Now I've got my Charlotte Tilbury Lip Cheat in Iconic Nude. I kind of want this to look nice and soft. Again, everything's soft, so I'm smudging it in so it doesn't look like an obvious line. And then for the lips, I'm actually going to use, am I going to use this? No, yeah, I'm going to use this. This is the Makeup by MERCIER Super Shine Lip Gloss in Rose Crush. Now, I don't want it to be super shiny, but I do really love this color because it's super subtle. So I am going to blot this in a minute. Whoa, what happened to my voice there? Funnily enough, last night I could feel in the middle of the night I was like clearing my throat. Please don't get ill. Please don't get ill. I'm going to knock back some supplements today. Well, no, some meds and some vitamin C. Right, I am going to blot this because it's way too shiny for me. Maybe once more. I love that color. Okay, this is where you're gonna have a look. Do I need to do anything else? Personally, I feel like we're kind of done. Like, this is why it's so important to leave it until the end, because if you basically like if you start adding all those things like extra bronzer and stuff like that before you've even done the eyes, as soon as you've done the eyes, you're gonna feel like, oh my God, it's just too much. It just looks too harsh. So I would highly recommend you waiting. If anything, I feel like, you know, I could probably do with a little bit more color on my cheeks. So I think I'm gonna go back to that same blush, and I'm gonna get this on the back of my hand, get that sponge that I was using, buff into it, and then get it. I'd rather have more blush than kind of, what do you call it, like sculpt, because I feel like that this will keep it soft. There you go, much softer. Doesn't look so harsh. I think the sculpting that we did before, you know, when we really buffed it into the skin, we buffed it into the sponge and then we buffed it into the skin, that has been like just enough. So I feel like this is perfect. It's it's soft, it's pretty, there's not too much pink, so it's not like, whoa, you know, because I'm not really a pink person. This is like the perfect amount. It's very soft, very kind of like sultry eyes, but not over the top, not too dark, and we've got a little bit of color there, and I think it just looks so nice. I hope you've enjoyed this. I just want to add that I do have, and I was supposed to mention this earlier, but I totally forgot, but I do have an online publication called the Beauty Breakfast Club, and it's this platform that you're gonna love. It's a community of people who love beauty and they want real, authentic conversation. So if you want to really find out about new products, the truth about them, are they genuinely worth the money? Should you be actually buying them? Which products are really underrated? All these kind of things that I don't always get a chance to put on here. You're going to see all of it there. It's detailed. You can refer back to it way quicker, because sometimes I'm sure it's difficult for you to remember what video I had, what, like I was using what on. So with that, it's much easier. It's on Substack, which is this platform which is amazing to connect people with people. You can subscribe there, like there's two ways. One is basically free, and that gives you access to some of the newsletters. I have a new newsletter every other day, and I write everything myself, and it's very personal, very real. You will feel like I'm just talking to you. And then you have the paid option, which literally is the cost of getting yourself a coffee a month. That's it. And that enables me to be able to support, like it enables you to be able to support what I do. And if you feel that you get anything from my videos and you learn anything at all from me, it would really, really help if you could opt for the paid version and help me out there, because it would mean the world. It would help me so much in bringing you better content. And also, by the way, with the paid version, you get access to, like, there's exclusive stuff you get access to, and we get a room where we chat. So we have a chat group, and it's really amazing because I'm meeting and getting to know so many of you over there. So yeah, can't wait to see you over there. It really helps this channel out if you like it, if you subscribe to it, and if you comment. So if you want to see any other kind of look, let me know, because I feel like you guys are going to love this one. And yeah, I guess I'm going to see you on the next video.